Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about the Odyssey casting drama. Yeah, I know I'm late, but hey, I've been busy and stuff like that. So I just wanted to chime in a little bit about the whole Odyssey controversy with the casting and how a group of, once again, racist bigots on YouTube are trying their extreme best to make you hate this movie, make you hate the diverse people, despite the movie is making some money in the box office right now. They dared to go up against Christopher Nolan himself, the great one, and everything. All because they need YouTube money to pay their bill, to buy toys, and for whatever other reason, they got up their nose and stuff. So, anyways, I find it odd and ridiculous that these people are so pissed off about what Christopher Nolan is doing in the Odyssey. I've heard people saying that, trans people and black people had no place in the Odyssey and had no place in ancient Greece, and like they didn't exist, and this is all wokeness, and Christopher Nolan is trying to get the woke award, and and stuff like that, and stop like bastardizing, like, what is it, like I don't know how old the Odyssey is. I don't know what year that was written in. I'm not in front of the computer right now talking about stop destroying that story and everything. First things first, I bet you anything, the majority of these people who are complaining never once read the Odyssey. Period. Because these people don't. Because deep down inside, they don't care. Just like they don't care about Betty Boop because she's about to be race bent in a movie. And oh no, here come the tears. Betty Boop is an extremely old-fashioned cartoon. So old, I wasn't even born yet. My mom loves Betty Boop, and she collects Funko Pops of Betty Boop. That's how old freaking Betty Boop is, and my mom's in her freaking 70s and stuff. But yet, these people who's in their 30s, 40s, and 50s are crying their eyes out and pissing in the bed because Betty Boop is about to get race bent. Somebody they never thought about until just now. But back to the Odyssey and everything, right? So they're complaining that like Lupita Nyong'o is that of Helena Troy because Helena Troy is not supposed to be black, and they're mad about like Elliot Page being a trans man and being in that movie, claiming that he is Hercules in the movie, or Achilles, if you want to go Greek with it and everything, which that's something they made up. Elliot Page isn't even playing Achilles and everything. Now, I haven't seen the Odyssey yet. It's not on my bucket list. The only thing I'm concerned about is Evil Dead Burn and the new Spider-Man movie. I can wait on the Odyssey when it's on streaming. But they had to lie online about Elliot Page playing Achilles and everything because they needed the rage, because of the simple fact this country and society is hating on trans people like never before. And so these little bigots and supremacists and everything like that, they don't like Lupita Nyong'o playing the most beautiful woman in the world, Helen Troy. Lupita is drop dead gorgeous. I'm telling you right here, right now, these neckbeard men on YouTube, I don't believe they're straight. Nobody can look at that woman and say, she's not beautiful and everything because she's black and everything. But it's funny because in Xena, they had an actress who was half black, half white. May she rest in peace because the actress passed away. She played Helena Troy and nobody cried about it. Now, I don't know what race Helena Troy is supposed to be. I forget what country she's from. All that Trojan horse crap, you know what I'm saying? Like, I honestly, don't know. And so, but of course, the Odyssey and of course, Helena Troy are fictional. They are not based on real people. Now, I will say yes, it can be confusing when Hollywood takes liberties with certain characters and they do race bend them around, or they will create characters and you assume that this is how ancient times were. That's happened to me plenty of times, say with Xena. I thought Amazons were real. They sounded and looked pretty real on the show, so I assumed they were based on real life. I thought real life stuff, but nah, they're just fake. Cause they're mythological. I can't talk. Mythological and everything. And I was watching The Serpent Queen, and it's dealing with people in like Italy and people in France, and Italians are technically white Europeans, and they had these two dudes who were based on real life people, and they were Indian Muslim. And I looked, I'm like, how the heck are you supposed to be related to that white lady you call your mother and these white people you call your cousins? Now, this is a show that's recent, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, they must have took liberties. I looked online, I'm like, yeah, they took liberties and everything. Now, I will say, if you're gonna base this on a real person, it would probably be best to try your best to cast similar to that of who they're based off of, just for historical sakes and doesn't confuse people. Because there's a lot of historical shows that I watch, like British shows. I'm just like, yeah, Indian people didn't show up in this time, and they weren't living high society life and being gentlemen and ladies and stuff like that. So it can be confusing. But if it's like fictional, magical stuff, then really who cares? But I do understand the argument of the simple fact it can be a little confusing if you want to learn from this. Now, these people who complain, they don't want to learn. They just want to complain. Now, about the whole black people and trans people in ancient times. Okay, first things first. Don't listen to these neck-beard, bigoted, racist men and all of these kitchen slave women who are hopping online on YouTube talking about woke this and woke that, and these people never existed in blah, blah, blah ancient times. They most certainly did. If you know your history or do your research like I have, I've done both. I've done research, and guess what? When I was in college, I took a history class on ancient Greece and stuff like that. And let me tell you, I was shocked and surprised when I started learning about like Romans and stuff like that. And like, there was a lot of booty playing going around back in those days and stuff. Like, I kid you not. There were a lot of homosexual people in ancient Greece and ancient Rome. Now, of course, when Christianity took over in Britain and stuff, they put somewhat of a pause on that, even though a lot of those kings and a lot of those holy religious people, like priests and stuff, was still getting some booty playing going around. But there were tons and tons and tons of LGBT people back in the day, and especially that of ancient Greece. So they most certainly did exist and everything. So don't you let these idiots tell you that they did not exist, all because they're trying to make you stupid. They're trying to make you mad, and they just want money and stuff. This is why there's only 8% of white people left in the world. You are literally making your own people go extinct through the bigotry and racism. But let's get down to it. First, let's start with my people. Black people and everything. Oh, would you look at that? In ancient Greece, black people did in fact exist, and they did live in ancient Greece. Some of them were merchants, some of them were sailors, other of them were soldiers and everything. But they called them Ethiopian people, meaning burnt face. And yes, I'm offended by them calling them burnt face. And so for people to say Well, Lapita has no business in this. Zendaya has no business in this. And John Leguizamo, who's Puerto Rican and got some black in him, have no business in them. When there certainly was black people back in those ancient days. Stop trying to rewrite history just because you're trying to get people marching out for your little supremacist type ways and everything, and boycott a movie that is exceeding your expectations and making tons of money in the bank. Now, let's get into the other group of people. Transgenders. While not traditional transgender type people, having surgery and, stuff like that, there most definitely were people who were not fond of like pronouns and stuff. And there were tons of cross dressers. In history, there have been plenty of women that have dressed as men because they wanted to live their lives as men. They got some wraps, they covered their boobs up, and they proceeded as men. Some fought in the war and some did other things. Now, we have a fictional character right here, whose name I can't even begin to pronounce, and I will not. But basically, she's made up. They believed in her and stuff. She was a physician, a medical person, a doctor. Hey, I got mansplained at some people who are dumb, you know what I'm saying? And so, medical practice was illegal back in the day for women. So she dressed as a man and pretended to be one to do medical stuff. But that's fiction. But the Odyssey is fiction. That don't matter. But hey, let's get in some real people. Why not? This woman was most definitely real and everything. Now, I can't pronounce her name, and I'm not about to. But it was against the law for women to compete in the Olympics or train in such a sport, punishable by death and everything, because hey, it's a man's world and they have micro penises. So what did this woman do? She dressed as a man and she trained and competed. A real woman in ancient Greece times dressed as a man and competed as one. But let's get a little bit more realer than that. All right, so let's get a little bit more real, right? So these group of people, I think I can pronounce their name. The Galley, or Galley, or whatever. Okay, maybe I can't. They were a group of priestess and everything, right? They were a group of men born biological, but for whatever reason, they decided, hey, we want to dress as women and parade around like that in our everyday lives. And that's what they did and everything. They just dressed as women for some reason. And, this is what happens when you don't know your history, you don't do research, and you sprout dumb stuff online or go on somebody's talk show spreading more lies and everything. So when you see the neckbeards and you see the kitchen slaves, okay, what's the kitchen slave? Well, it's a woman on YouTube who decides, hey, I can be toxic too. I can rant, I can lie, I can push an agenda, I can get people to hate people. And when I'm ranting, I can read off a script and have spazzes and everything. These women are kitchen slaves because we know that they worship the almighty white man and everything, and he wants them stuck in the kitchen. So, they're kitchen slaves. Don't believe these people. They are literally trying to make you stupid. They don't want to do research. They don't know their history. And if they do know their history, they are lying to you. Stop being minions to these people and stop sliding down their poles and everything, because that is what they want. And once again, this is why there's only 8% of y'all left in the world, because you're literally killing your own race. It ain't nobody else doing it. Your people have decided, you know what, we're a little too racist. Let's go on the other side and see how that is and everything. And couple of 100 years from now, y'all are not gonna exist because there were more white people in the 1930s than there is now. 8% is a small number. All these other countries, all these other races are sick and tired of y'all being racist. So, hey, why not just stop being racist and everything? What are you benefiting from it? Like what exactly? You know what I'm saying? Oh, of course, the moment you get called a racist, you huff, you puff, you cry, you piss your pants and say, well, I'm not racist. It's just a difference of opinion and everything. But your opinion is always about gender, race, and sexuality. You're fake. People know y'all are fake. And the Odyssey is making bank. Oh, and what's even funnier is that these people who are whining, pissing, and complaining for like months and months and months who've never seen the movie before it came out, and the movie's out now, and they still haven't seen it. From what I heard, all these people they're complaining about are in the movie for no longer than 5 minutes. So you mean to tell me 5 minutes equals up to 2 hours and however long Christopher Nolan made this movie? Stop letting these people make a fool out of you. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.